Hey everybody, and thanks for clicking on this video and checking out my channel. So today, some big news dropped, potentially. I don't want to go full in yet. I don't want to say this is 100% true, but FandomWire, which is a site that has some legitimacy with some of the articles that they have posted, a lot of them have come to be true, is exclaiming what many are believing to be rumored to be true, that indeed Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are not only in talks to return for Spider-Man 3, but that they are now signed on. Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are now signed on for Tom Holland's Spider-Man 3. If this is true, and I say if because I don't want to go full on geek out yet, because this news isn't everywhere. It's mostly just on FandomWire. Everywhere else that I've looked is just saying that it's rumored to be true. So I don't want to go full geek yet. But if this is true, this is huge. This blows my mind and gets me overly excited. So really, this news comes from days ago when it was announced that Jamie Foxx's Electro was going to be returning, the same Electro from The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Now, this got a lot of head scratching, and it was one that was very curious to me too. I was very surprised to hear this news. That was the definition of never say never for me. Never say never is now Jamie Foxx came back as Electro, anything can happen, because I never in a million years thought that we would ever see Jamie Foxx back as Electro, especially since his Electro is kind of the worst part of The Amazing Spider-Man 2. There's other parts of The Amazing Spider-Man 2 that aren't so great, but Electro was a big problem for The Amazing Spider-Man 2. So it's very interesting, first off, that they brought him back, and they say that he's not going to be blue. It's not going to be like exactly the same look as the Electro and stuff, but Jamie Foxx is playing Electro again, and that got head scratching. And then days later after that, not too long ago, Doctor Strange was added to Spider-Man 3. Doctor Strange, Benedict Cumberbatch is coming back as Doctor Strange in the upcoming Spider-Man 3 for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now this is where I was like, okay, they're doing something with this, because Doctor Strange, ever since after his first solo movie, Doctor Strange has kind of been used as a tool, in my opinion, in the MCU, if you really look at him, because he was used in Infinity War, mostly for the Time Stone and to get that plan in action. Then in Endgame, he was really only there to remind Tony Stark of the sacrifice that he had to make and stuff. Doctor Strange hasn't been overly well used in the MCU. Not well used, but he hasn't been overly like a big player in and of himself in the MCU. He's mostly been used as a device in my eyes. So this feels kind of the same way for Spider-Man 3. It says that he's going to have like a mentor kind of role. I don't know how much he will actually play in Spider-Man 3. My theory right now, because this is totally a speculating video, this is totally going to be all speculation. My theory right now is Doctor Strange is going to be the key to the multiverse, because Doctor Strange 2, remind you, is called Multiverse of Madness. So I feel like they're going to be using Doctor Strange in Spider-Man 3 as a tool, once again, as the device to bring Electro from The Amazing Spider-Man 2 into Spider-Man 3. I think Doctor Strange, and I think it might play a little bit in WandaVision as well, Doctor Strange is going to be the key to starting this Spider-Verse, this multiverse that it looks like Marvel is going for. But with the inclusion of Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, again, if this is true, is just furthering that theory and that speculation in my mind. Now, there's many reasons why this gets me excited. There are many, obviously, because I love Spider-Man. Even the problems I have with Amazing Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man 3 and stuff like that, I've liked mostly all the Spider-Man movies. I can at least watch them all and find some enjoyment in each and every one of them. And I've liked every Spider-Man that we've gotten for all different reasons. Tom Holland is my favorite. But then Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire both brought stuff to the role that I really like, and their Spider-Mans are ones that I'm really fond of as well. So to see them interact with Tom Holland would be really, really amazing. And this gets the speculation ball rolling in my mind so fast right now, because so many thoughts are going through my mind of how this could work. So the first kind of things that I'm thinking about is how cool it does hit the nail on the head a bit, but how cool this is, a passing of the torch kind of moment that could be, because let's face it, I love the Tom Holland Spider-Man, but he has kind of been more of a Spider-Boy so far than a Spider-Man. He's definitely been younger, which I like that they've started off younger. But Tom Holland is so young in the role, and he's so beloved by fans. You know Sony and Marvel want to keep him around for as long as they can. So this Spider-Man can grow way more than these other Spider-Man have been able to grow in the past. So I think going forward, after this set of trilogy, I speculate he's going to get another trilogy where he's going to be older. I feel like this Spider-Man 3 will be his last year in high school, and he's going to grow up in the later movies. And Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire coming in as those past Spider-Man can kind of pass the torch to Tom Holland as he's going on to be the definitive Spider-Man in the future, is what I think they're setting up. And that would just be really nice as a fan to see Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. It would also give a little bit of closure to Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, because both of their series were abruptly shut down. They were abruptly canceled, and it will be nice to see them come back again. And it also got me speculating, like, are we going to see Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man and where he's at nowadays? Because Sam Raimi is directing Doctor Strange 2. They have Sam Raimi in their pocket right now. He is involved in the Marvel projects. And Spider-Man, the Sam Raimi Spider-Mans, is so distinctive to all the other Spider-Mans. The way that it's shot, the way that it's practically used, the humor, the way they speak, everything about Sam Raimi's Spider-Man stands out amongst all the other Spider-Mans in my mind. Even the Amazing Spider-Man series with Andrew Garfield don't stand out as much as that Sam Raimi Spider-Man. When you're watching a Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie, it is clear that you're watching a Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie. So I'm wondering if, because they have Sam Raimi for Doctor Strange 2, if they're going to bring him to kind of shoot some scenes that will be in Tobey Maguire's universe of Spider-Man. I wonder, and I kind of hope, that if this is true and we do get a little glimpse into Spider-Man's world, whether it's when Doctor Strange is opening up the portal and we're shown on the other side of Tobey Maguire, that's how we get introduced to Tobey Maguire, we see him on the other side of this portal, and it's in his world. If they'll bring Sam Raimi in to shoot some of that stuff and set some of that scenery up, and maybe we get a cameo from Kirsten Dunst. Like, Spider-Man 3, because Spider-Man 4 got canceled, Spider-Man 3, as the end of the franchise, is kind of really bittersweet. It ends on this kind of question mark of a note, Peter and MJ, they kind of reconciliate. It seems like they embrace in a hug, but it kind of leaves you with this thought of, what now? What happened after that? What's going on? So if we could catch up with Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man and see where he's at in life right now. He'd be in his 40s, he'd be a middle-aged Spider-Man. Is he still fighting crime? Did he marry MJ after all? Like, what's going on with Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man? It would be amazing to revisit that character, and I would be so excited to see where he's at, and just to see Tobey again, just to see him in that suit, and really being the passing of the torch to Tom Holland in a way. Same with Andrew Garfield. Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, I've always felt so bad for Andrew Garfield because he's been such a fan of Spider-Man. It's been so clear how much he loves the character, and he got to play him. He got to be Spider-Man, but the movies that he was in, he got dealt a bad deal. You hear all the behind-the-scenes stuff. Sony was trying to set up the Sinister Six movie and the Spider-Verse, and they weren't focusing on his character. Andrew Garfield felt kind of cheated in the way that he was handled as Spider-Man. I feel bad for the guy, and his movie series obviously got canceled, with many more movies set up before it got canceled. So there was really no closure, if you really think about it, to either of these Spider-Man. There was no closure to Tobey, really, more than Andrew Garfield, but really there wasn't too much closure to Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, and there wasn't too much closure at all to Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. He just kind of up and vanished. And luckily we got Tom Holland out of it, but still, I felt bad for the guy. So for him to have a second chance to bring this character in to the Marvel Cinematic Universe in a way, I want to catch up with him too. Like, what happened after Gwen Stacy's death and he came back to being Spider-Man. Like, the idea of not just seeing all three of these Spider-Men who have meant so much to me in so many different ways come together is mind-blowing and gets me so excited. Again, trying to temper it because this could possibly not happen. This could not be true. Although this article, which if I look for it, I believe it does say that the filming for the Untitled Spider-Man 3 is set to begin this fall, which would make sense why this would happen. And I believe it does say that Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire, they were on they were signed on to this project before the pandemic even hit, which would make sense if they're prepping the script and getting all this stuff ready to go for them to be shooting for this fall. Like, it shoots this coming month, so they'd have to get all these pieces into position fast. So it would make sense if this was signed on before the pandemic, but again, this could not work out to be true, but this just gets my speculation mind going. Not only would it be amazing to see all three of these Spider-Man that have meant so much to me in so different ways, and then passing towards to Tom Holland, it also flips a bit for me on what Sony could be doing, because as we remember, I still believe Sony is looking for a way to bring this character out of the MCU. Tom Holland, Spider-Man, they want him for their Venomverse. I don't think that the MCU wants to be tied to the Venomverse too much. But so I think that's a button of the heads going on at Marvel and Sony right now. And Sony did take Spider-Man away briefly. Remember that moment that freaked all of us fans out? And then Marvel was able to negotiate a deal where I believe he got 2 or 1 more movie with the MCU to kind of give us closure, is what the article sounded like. But I think that this could also be a way that Sony takes Spider-Man out of the MCU, which is a bittersweet kind of thought, because I think opening up the multiverse, and if they are doing this Spider-Verse type thing for Spider-Man 3, which I hope doesn't get too cluttered, because it sounds like it could get really cluttered. But if this is the case, if they are going to use this Spider-Verse to take Tom Holland out of the MCU, I think it'll be a really cool way to kind of do that, and is a way that I will accept more than if he was just gone. I think if you opened up that Spider-Verse, or bringing these Spider-Men in and showing that they did exist just in multiverse form, taking Tom Holland out of the MCU to go into the Venomverse, whether he gets sucked through a portal, whether he gets stuck, or whether he chooses to leave, whatever happens with Tom Holland, I think will be easier to digest in that way than just a deal ending and him just suddenly being gone of the MCU. But yeah, this is huge. This is very exciting. This is mind-blowing that this picture could potentially come into reality. I'm just so stoked if this news is true. If it's not true, I'm trying to really temper my excitement. If it's not true, then it's just kind of cool to think of what could have been. But either way, with the inclusion of Electro being confirmed, Doctor Strange being confirmed, I think it does make this story very likely to be true. And Spider-Man 3 is just going to be a wild movie. Anyway, guys, that's all I really wanted to say on this news and share my excitement and speculation for this. But what do you guys think of this news? Do you think it's actually going to happen? Do you think in our reality that we are going to actually get to see Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield on screen with Tom Holland's Spider-Man? Do you think Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield will be in their suits? Do you think they'll just play Peter Parker characters? I mean, there's so much thought that goes into this story that I'm really excited about. And I want to hear all your thoughts and opinions about this story as well, and what you guys are thinking about Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield possibly returning as Spider-Man. As always, guys, thank you so much for clicking on this video and checking out my channel. Once again, my name's Zachary Milne. Thank you for talking movies with me, and hope you have yourself a great day.